Yes, welcome to IoT Coffee Talk. And what happened to my video?
I don't know. It's fine over here.
Oh, okay. It looks horrible over here. I'm living in the digital divide.
Yeah.
No, seriously. I still get satellite connectivity on my phone because of my service provider, dude. Seriously, they're on low band. Even though the icon says 5G, I get no G.
Oh.
How's that?
Not OG, but no G.
No, it is certainly not. Well, it could be the OG. 1G, right?
That's 1G, yes.
OG that's no data, no nothing, no connectivity.
Damn.
The rabbit ears. But hey, everyone, take us seriously at your own risk, especially this episode because it's just Bill and me.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be good. You know, sometimes these like 2 people sessions are really cool. You know, I've had a couple really good ones with Rob, just the 2 of us, and then Rob's had some with some of our other cast members, and they've been good. You know, sometimes it's nice to have the smaller group. But what's been going on, my brother?
We got to start with. Yeah.
Oh my God. Hell yeah. So is that your real business? Are you telling us that there is no money in IoT?
But you got to tap that ass.
You're killing it with t-shirts, right?
I'll tell you.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, man. This is, I mean, I heard. All right. So look, we will, it's going to be a repeated thing throughout until January 1, 2026. But this is indeed the year across the board of FA and FO, no matter what. You're seeing it left and right in every space you can think of.
Yeah.
It's the case. So I'm like, well, look, I heard I heard a couple of my buddies, right? A couple of my buddies, they're still single. And they're like, dude, if I wore the t-shirts that you wore, I'd never get a woman. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You gotta be fucking kidding me. I'm like, look, the girls don't like graphic tees. I'm like, I don't give a what they like. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm a grown ass man. I do what I want to do.
No. You know what I'm saying? It's actually the FAFO thing is actually a pretty good one. It's pretty funny. If you took it on a date, you know, you had that shirt and you went out.
Oh,
FAFO, baby.
I go out with my wife, man, and I'm wearing those things. I'm telling you, it's not going to stop. It's only going to get worse. It is. I get as close to the edge.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it just gets worse with age. You heard it here on IoT Coffee Talk. Yes, and hey, everyone, remember we do this all for the good of the kids. Yeah, in underserved and unserved communities. Yes, there are still a lot of those out there, and so please have have a kind heart and donate to Elevate Our Kids at www.elevateourkids.org. It's a great charity. You want a tax deduction on the charity donation. It's a great place to make that donation every year. And so we hope you'll participate. And, if you're not into charity, but you like fashion, you can pick up all kinds of merch. We have IoT Coffee Talk merch, and we also have Elevate Our Kids merch at www.elevateourkids.org, and all the proceeds go to the charity. So please donate. And hey, let's talk about. We've talked about pilots before, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about. So let's do this. Let's do something a little bit different on IoT Coffee Talk, rather than just like rambling about a bunch of the crazy stuff that's been happening. Let's talk about like what we think are best practices in approaching clients that want a pilot done for whatever, right? Whether it's a smart city initiative or anything else related to IoT, right? And then maybe we can look at it from both sides of the coin, right? One as like a solution or a service provider or a SI, and the other from the perspective of a customer, right? And an organization that wants to explore how this growing, constantly morphing range of technologies can present some value, whether it's the innovation side of things or just improvement of existing processes. Explore those types of opportunities and what some of those best practices are. So why don't we do that?
Let's do that.
Instead of friggin', talking about like AI and doomsday and all that other stuff that Rob loves to talk about these days.
You know what? I think there's enough fatigue around the whole AI conversation, period. Right. People are hearing it. People don't know what's what. So let's give that a timeout. And let's address some of those things that are forward moving, right? So, almost every company experiences it, right? You've got a solution. You want to get the solution out there. You want to gain that adoption and everything. And whether you're working with a city, municipality, B2B, B2C, it doesn't matter. People are going to say, hey, well, do you have a freebie? Do you have a trial?
But hey, dude, before we even get there, let's clarify, because you know what? I've actually recently been in some conversations where folks are wondering, what do you mean by a pilot? What is a pilot, right? Because we actually have an episode. So folks, if you don't know, we have an episode from a long time ago. It might be even 5 years ago where we talk about pilots, but maybe it's good to revisit the concept. What the hell is a pilot, dude?
You know what? I don't think the cleanest definition is a pilot is a limited time example of something that you and your customer agree on, right? You would have, but the whole thing about it is that what's not often covered. So we say that's what it is. And that could be anything. Let's look at the smart grid space. You're going to say, well, we'll do a 5,000 meter pilot. So we're going to put up the infrastructure. We're going to give you 5,000 meters. And now comes the waiting game, because you've got to put them up. You've got to run it. You got to show that the meters got read. You got to show all of these other security measures. And everything else has to be there. And you kind of have to live up to whatever SLA you're going to live up to.
Yeah.
That's on that side. On other sides, well, for connectivity and everything like that, it depends. Like, you're not going to have a fiber pilot. That's just going to go. But a wireless connectivity pilot, you're going to have that. Yeah. And again, it gets down to sitting down at the table going, okay, so how are we going to define this?
Yeah. Okay. So can I give it a shot?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I used to do a bunch of this shit long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So let me know if this resonates with you. Okay. And I think we need to bring POC into the friggin' mix as well. In this galaxy far, far away, we used to typically, when we're working with clients off of a strategy project, so they're really interested in some kind of new technology or a new vendor offering. As a SI or a consultant, a tech consultant, we'd go in and we do, an ideation project or what have you. And part of it would be to build a strategy, but then at tail end this, where we're doing sort of a solution outline, right? So if this is what you want to explore in terms of an outcome or a quote unquote transformation, this in principle, off of this particular type of technology or software package or what have you, this is what the solution kind of looks like. So there's an outline, and then the POC, you get to a POC part, which is proof of concept, where you can do one of two things or both, right? One is a technical POC, and then the other one is a functional POC, right? And so taking whatever solution you have, applying it to your own business scenarios, or even maybe, let's say, your processes and your systems to prove out whether or not there's a fit of this technology. But then through that process, you're also figuring out, okay, what are the functional gaps? And ideally, you go in with an idea of what those functional gaps are, because if you've worked with these technology before as a consultant, you can spot that working with the client, doing sort of a as-is or current state assessment. But really trying to figure out, okay, what are those gaps that we would actually have to address, and what are the flat out, this tech cannot do this kind of revelations going through a POC, right? And that's why, it's a POC, proof of concept, but on the technical end, it's also interesting because you're proving out feasibility from a technical perspective. Can this particular technology be supported by whatever it is that your IT organization or OT organization has in terms of a technology or infrastructure stack, right?
Right.
Or portfolio. Does it integrate with XYZ, right? What would it take to do that? So that's a POC. And the pilot is really, you have a sense of all of this stuff, but then now you've actually configured maybe a pilot configuration or, implementation of a quote unquote solution. And then now you want to test it out narrowly within your organization, actually, to, determine, okay, what are the change management factors? What are the adoption factors? What are the, what's the actual real business potential of a deployed solution within your organization? So I know that was long-winded, dude, but
well, you kind of wrapped a lot of things into, as I'm hearing it, right? You kind of wrapped a lot of things into one, right? I mean, no, it's true though. It's true. Everything that you said is true. But here's what, the end result of those things is, one, for the small company that truly just can't afford to foot the bill for that. First and foremost, so you, the potential customer, are somewhat responsible for driving some of these small companies out of business. Because what are they going to do? You're going to do one or two things as a small company. You're going to go and you're going to line yourself with one big, opportunity, and they're going to whipsaw you all over the place before you ever land on something that's going to drive revenue.
Yeah.
Okay. Or they're going to customize your shit so much that you don't recognize it at the end and it doesn't fit anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, so here's Bill's advice.
Okay. All right.
Don't FA and FO, because all you need to do is look in the past and see what happened. Okay. Don't do that. Set yourself up with a plan of attack. All right. First and foremost, are pilots a thing? Yes, they are. Successful companies do them, but they don't do them for free.
Yeah. Hey, look, and this is what we've said on IoT Coffee Talk forever, ever. I guess the best practice for any enterprise buyer, pay for good consulting. It's risk mitigation, but you also bring expertise into your house, because usually a transformation program, I mean, POC pilot is just that's like step 0, right? You have the rest of the journey to go down. If you can figure out someone who can help you with that phase 0, that's golden. And you don't need to give them like the entire transformation program thingy. Actually, what's good is to have somebody in there that really knows their stuff, that can basically pressure test everything along the way. So let's say that it's a big transformation program. You have X number of SIs in there and vendors. Use that party to basically keep stuff straight. One of the reasons why, in my experience, large transformation projects fail so much is because of politics. And it's usually a vendor trying to cover their ass and then stick it on someone else. So if you have a multi-vendor situation, it's really, really toxic to have, a vendor, and there's more than likely going to be one or maybe a few of them that basically try to play the politics. I mean, that's the other thing that everyone should learn. These transformation projects are, if you think your organization is political,
no, the politics will.
Hey, the only reason why we say this is because we've been there and
done that.
Exactly. And if you haven't been there and you haven't done that, you will not say what we're saying right now, because this stuff is straight up uncomfortable. But
wait a minute. Let me. You said something that kind of got me there a bit.
Oh no, I triggered you.
Yes. You said get you some good consulting. All right, we're gonna call a timeout here. Have a little group huddle here, because we got to call the right play. All right.
Yeah.
So a lot of organizations and a lot of municipalities think they have good consulting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, I just had a conversation, and because of the piss poor consulting that's been out there, it makes it more difficult on us.
Oh,
now,
yeah, okay.
I'm in somewhat of a unique position. I've got a consulting company and I've got a software company. So I'm literally like
full service.
Yeah, I got both sides going.
Yeah.
But here's the deal, right? A good consultant or a good consulting firm is not going to, one, just deliver you a pretty slide deck. Two, they're not going to have a plethora of boutique consultants sitting behind them that really do the work. Because if that's the case, why don't you go to them? Right? I literally had a conversation with the municipality, and of course we're going to be respectful. We won't say who they used, but they said they spent $1.3 million. And the slide deck wasn't all that great and was outdated by the time they got to use it. Two, the advice and the information that they received did not match the solutions that they were looking to take advantage of.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I stopped them. I said, so basically what you're telling me is that you FA'd and FO'd. Let's not do that, people.
Yeah. No, and so now that you're opening up a different can of worms is qualifying consultants, right? And advisors, whoever it is that you use as a technical advisor. I mean, obviously that is a challenging task in and of itself. But I think, yeah, it all boils down to looking at their backgrounds and making sure that whoever is actually brought to the table has the experience. And then and I've been on the receiving end of like bad consulting work as well, having to manage these large programs where literally half of the politics is to figure out how to deliver against really bad expectations that have been set by somebody else, right? And so getting back to the politics, the needle that you have to thread is, how do I deliver? Man, it's bringing flashbacks, dude. It's this is like disturbing stuff. Is like PTSD type of shit we're doing right now.
Yes.
But the needle that you have to thread is delivering with success, because you're accountable for that, and then untangling expectations that are not reasonable. Such as timelines where you have a project schedule, and then certain tasks were articulated by someone who has no experience in any of this stuff, has no visibility to technology, architecture, what it takes to actually do some of the, let's say, development or integration work, having to work against those expectations or communicating against those. It can be really, really challenging. But then that, I think, but it's pretty clear. Actually, you know what? The funny thing is that the consultant can't just be a strategy consultant that does the initial, pitch deck for this stuff.
Let's expand on that one, because how can you be a strategy consultant if you've never executed?
Well, that's the other problem. Yeah. I mean, if you've only done book report, well, see, that's why, consistently those have been the issues, is that when you adopt a strategy that has been put together by someone with no experience, right, then you are simply going to FA and you're going to
FO.
Oh,
yes.
And it ain't going to be that great. So, going back to the function of the POC, the POC, I think, is an important validation artifact. It's not something you give out for free. It's something, and we've even mentioned it before. And I'd like your thoughts on this, Bill. It's something that is post-design, right? You have an idea of what it is that the solution will be. The POC is simply proving out not only to the architect and the engineers that, hey, we can do this, and it would fulfill some target business benefits through its implementation. It helps all the stakeholders see that, oh, okay, this can work. Right? There could be value in implementing this. And those stakeholders can be technical as well as on the business side, right? In fact, I would say, don't make it just a technical exercise. Make it a business exercise as well, so that these POCs can demonstrate in simple terms what it is the solution can actually do, and then also help them understand the technology, right, in lay terms. Right, because that's a great opportunity for the technology to actually express itself in terms of value to business stakeholders.
I think that's absolutely right. Now, the key part about that is, so actually, what you ought to call this episode is the anatomy of a deal. Because that's really what it is.
Okay. Yeah.
That's really what it is, right?
Our vendor friends. Yeah.
You have a prospect. And you're going after them. You guys get to the table. You're having these conversations. And they're saying, okay, so tell us about this. Through the telling of, here's the problem I'm trying to solve, hence why you're here.
Yeah.
Now tell me about how you're going to apply your technology to solve my problem. Okay. So that's the conversation that you're having. And you do that dance, and then it's down to, okay, I think I understand everything that you guys need to do. Now, mind you, that I'm going to say this, that there is always a level of system integration that is going to happen. Now, we say system integration, I say customization, because every organization and company is different, right? I mean, Oracle as an ERP system gets implemented in other places a million different ways.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
So nothing comes out of the box and just works. So you're down to the point, now you're having the conversation about, well, let's do a small pilot. Number one, out the gate, nobody gets away scot-free. So for the solution provider, put a dollar value to your time and your effort. And for the customer side, put some skin in the game, because if you don't really believe that this is going to be the answer for you, then you shouldn't even embark on a pilot in the first damn place.
Oh, yeah. And again,
and make sure you have clear KPIs.
Yeah.
What are we going to call success? Oh, and by the way, once we execute it, and then let's not have this in perpetuity, okay? So the next thing is put a time frame on it, and the time frame needs to align with, here are the KPIs. The second thing, and you hit on this, right? The business value of it. So it's a technology that's delivering the business value. Now, managing expectations is the key, right? Because in a number of these transformational exercises, you can see a path to it delivering that value, but it doesn't do it day one.
No, not even. No, not even. And then going back to like what we were saying before about the definition of a pilot, that's a mini implementation. I mean, let's make sure that we understand where it resides actually on the continuum of delivery. It's literally after you've configured what you think is a somewhat production ready configuration or development. It's not, it's not an exploration. At this point, you've already gone through the POCs, you've gone through the design cycle, the build cycle, you've tested a few things, you've integrated some things. Now to isolated maybe production systems, you're about to go and test that out in your business. So this notion that you're going to ask your service provider or your vendor to provide a free pilot is actually pretty crazy. So the word of advice to any buyers out there, don't do it to your vendors. And number one, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because you're going to have your vendors cutthroat themselves to try to get your business, and then everyone's going to screw up. And we see it time and time again. So you see all of these seminars about, hey, we can help you reduce, improve your rate of project success for your digital transformation from 70% failure to whatever 50%. This is more probably germane to the practical stuff that you guys can do in terms of mindset as well as expectation to foster success, right? And it's so weird to hear so many IoT practitioners and friends of ours talk about pilots and giving it away for free, or POC giving it away for free.
I mean, look. The thing about it is, I've talked to some of our peers, and they've said, look, we're just going to do a free pilot, and then it's baked into the deployment. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
What if you don't get the damn deployment?
Yeah.
Now you're in cost recovery mode. So it's transparency. Look, customer, it's going to cost us both in in infrastructure as well as labor. So let's geofence this area. We're going to run the pilot in this area. We're going to build it as though we were doing a full deployment. We're just going to shrink it down. So it's like you said, you're doing a full implementation. It's just in a smaller zone. But at the end of it, we're going to say this is a 90-day pilot. Over that 90 days, we seek to, show you these examples. At the end of those 90 days, we hit those KPIs. We come back to the table. We talk about full deployment. And naturally, and so here's the next question. They're going to say, well, that X $100K that I gave you, is that applied here? Well, the smart move is yes, it is.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. There's a million ways you can skin that cat.
You can, but I don't want them to feel. I never want my customers to feel like, well, I just gave you $350K, and now you're telling me it's going to be 3.5 million.
So it's tricky. It's not. And then also you have what your competition is doing. So if it's open, it's like a bid situation, then you also have to be cognizant of what tactics or approaches your competition are taking. But then I think that's why good procurement practices on the side of the buyer are really important, right? And we've talked about that before, right? And how jacked up some of that stuff is. So buyers out there, really try to get a handle on your procurement process, especially if you really want to get the best service providers and resources. Okay, working on these critical projects that you have. You really have to get a lot of that stuff straight, and that can be broken sometimes in some organizations, as we've talked about prior on IoT Coffee Talk. But yeah, you can skin that cat all kinds of different ways. It's just that I think one of the things that I used to try to do, and somewhat successfully, sometimes not, was to sell the value of that immediate phase of work that we're talking about, but then also helping them understand that one of the things that we would do as part of the approach that we take is ensure that all the deliverables that are produced can be leveraged by any other party. Let's say that you decide not to go with us for the implementation or the design phase or what have you, the subsequent phases, that we would work with your team to make sure that those artifacts are leverageable, right? And otherwise, what you get into this game of like doing the invest, like you're talking about, and then everyone starts doing it. And then guess what? Nobody makes money. And then it creates all kinds of weird incentives within the service provider's organization that then impact the implementation phase, where everyone is trying to make good on that initial investment. So there's all kinds of ways that a buyer can really screw up the political environment. You can have positive politics that you foster amongst all stakeholders, including your partners and your suppliers, vendors.
Yeah.
Or you can make it really toxic. And I don't know about you, Bill, the worst projects that I've ever been on are the ones that had toxic politics. Number one, not only is it really uncomfortable for everybody, right? It took the eye off the ball. That ball is the customer. And dude, when I used to be in those situations, I used to tell everyone, look, guys, it's not about us. It's the customer.
Right.
You know what? And so this is my piece of advice to everyone out there getting into this. And because, this kind of bullshit situation happens a hell of a lot more than people probably would like to admit. If you truly put the customer first, you will win. and sometimes that's hard when the toxicity is so high, right?
Yeah, but let's not forget that there are some bad customers too.
Yeah. Oh, come on, man. I'm trying to paint a picture of hope.
There is, but I can't just sit there and in the back of my head, there's that dude that's sitting there saying, man, that's some bullshit. Either you're gonna say it voluntarily or I'm gonna show it. But for real, right? I mean, just know that that's the case, right? Even if you put the customer first, which is something that you should always do, even when you do that, there are bad customers. And just know that, all right, I know that this is a bad customer.
Yeah.
And I need to do everything that I can just to get this done so that I can go back to my happy life.
Yeah, I can get the hell out. Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes, we've said it before, is one of the things is, as a business, one of the key things is to avoid bad business, because there is bad money.
Not all money is good money.
Yeah, not all money is good money. And so these simple tropes have a lot of wisdom in them, especially when you apply them to what we're talking about right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, man. And usually, again, getting back to the politics, it's really about, is everyone in it for, including the customer, in the charter of the project? Do you believe in it? And if there is no intrinsic belief or understanding of that charter, or the charter is wrong,
right?
That's how you get in trouble, right? And then at that point, I see that those are the things that you might want to scope out as a vendor or a service or a solution provider. Is what am I getting myself into? There's so many stories that we heard in the past 6 years. We've been doing IoT Coffee Talk about people engaged in bad projects. It may be not even their fault, but yeah, you're right. Now we're getting way past POCs and pilots here, but those are the three key points. We should call this episode PTSD.
Yeah, it is. It's like I haven't shown you guys the scars on my back yet. Yes. But there's knowing what problem it is that you're trying to solve, keeping the customer first.
Yeah.
Drive towards a pilot that is shared. So that is shared risk, shared reward, and get yourself to full production and become a partner. Whenever one of our customers has called me a vendor, I'm like, hold up. I'm like, I'm sorry, no disrespect or anything. Vendors sell peanuts. I'm your partner.
Baseball games.
I'm your partner. Vendor. I'm your partner. Okay. I got both our interests at heart.
Yeah. No. I hear. Yeah, that's true. Actually, you're not selling them a widget.
No,
you're selling.
I'm here. I'm not selling it and then I'm gone. I'm selling it and then I'm coming in for QBRs and I'm like, what else would you like to see? What else can you do this is software. We are continuing to move forward. So I want to show you where we're going. I want to take your needs into account and build them into my roadmap.
Yeah. That is different. Okay. I misspoke. I said service provider, solution provider, partner, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So there's a whole range, right? Because some people do sell peanuts.
Yeah, they do.
And some peanuts are really good in certain situations. So don't want the peanuts.
And look, some customers are allergic to peanuts.
Saying. This is true. But I think the idea that you give these things away from free, I don't even want to hear it anymore. If I hear somebody sit there and say, yeah, we give a pilot away for free, pilot project or blah, blah, blah. I'm going to roll my eyes and go, okay, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And that's like, that is an indication that that particular company or whatever, that party is not really tuning into number one, what a POC is, or a pilot. From a commercial standpoint, if you're giving this stuff away for free, you're in big trouble. In fact, maybe one of the good things for listeners to do here is to take some of our points about what you should do in shaping the potential customer prospects expectations, is to talk about it. It's like, look, pilots shouldn't be done for free. Neither should be POC. Let me help you understand, right?
Yeah.
And then contextualize it. And then and help them understand where there can be some reasonable investment, right, on the part of a partner or a vendor, if you're selling peanuts, right? and then make sure that you build a business for yourself. Geez, right? I think the same goes for AI. And I know we were going to try to avoid AI, but AI has the same problem. It's not like these guys are like selling this stuff like hotcakes. There's a couple of very niche companies that are finding some success, but a vast majority, there's consolidation happening now. Everyone's talking about consolidation, and a lot of people about to run out of money. That means that you're as a partner or a vendor or a service provider, you're doing a really crap job of helping your prospects see the value of what you're delivering, right? And then so getting into these POCs, giving them away for free if you're like a consultant or a SI, that's not a good approach. And I think for buyers, it's absolutely naive to think that everyone out there knows how to get value out of AI. It's becoming more and more of a joke. And so you really have to be careful of who you trust out there.
Absolutely. I mean, look, even on that front, right? Or people look at software, they look at AI, they look at all of those types of things, right? And they assume that the cost to implement or the cost to demonstrate is trivial.
Yeah.
So absolutely not. Cloud costs are cloud costs. And if you really kind of want to take a look at it, run down there to go to any one of your large CSPs and just use their calculator. Look how much, look how much 2 or 3 terabytes of data is going to cost you inside an S3 bucket in AWS.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're not just using an S3 bucket, you're using some of their other services. So I mean, you're using Fargate containers and you're using other services that are sitting in there. Yeah. Same thing with Azure. You're using their IoT hub and all of this other stuff. Go and look at how much it would be to throw around a terabyte of data. Yeah. And that is just the infrastructure cost. That's not your partner's cost of making sure that solution delivers on the KPIs. So I'm just saying that, it needs to be just that. These things need to be viewed as partners. I'm making an investment in my customer and my customer base by doing a number of different things, right? So our partners are over there saying, okay, well, we're working with this city. We're gonna put an office here. Get me to your economic development group, and we're gonna work with them to help build. There's quid pro quo across the board because you want to be that partner.
Yeah.
So I mean, when people are looking at it and all they're doing is just slinging sales pitches around, those are your vendors.
Yeah, they're selling peanuts.
Those are your vendors right there.
Maybe this episode should be called "Don't Sell Peanuts, Be a Partner."
That's it.
Yeah. Don't sell peanuts. Otherwise, you're just going to make peanuts.
That's it. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've talked to a lot of our, and here's the interesting thing. Avsgal Mangal, he wrote that book, and it's like we don't talk about IoT enough. I want him on. He said, "Hey, dude, come on, and let's talk about your book, dude, and then you can tell us we're full of crap." We would love that opportunity to have you say that we don't know what we're talking about.
Please, yes.
No, it's we're open book, right? We like to challenge, but I think if we're still struggling to sell the solution, going back to talking to technology, right? How does that move the ball? I guess that would be like the persistent question. I don't think telcos have been really good at figuring out IoT. In fact, I think they've been pretty terrible at it. They continue to be not very good at it.
But what are they selling? What are they selling? They can't sell IoT.
No, because they cannot articulate the solution. I will tell you.
They don't make the solution. That's the thing.
That's the other problem.
That's the thing.
Exactly. Because what I explain to the telco industry is, if you want to know what your next opportunity is, it is going to be rooted on the next mobile computing paradigm. What is that? And the funny thing is, it's going to be diverse, it's going to be different, but it's not just connectivity. And so if your mindset is fixated on just connectivity and communications, then you're not going to be able to see the opportunity. You're not going to be able to maximize your cut of the opportunity, right? And this is what we hear in the industry all the time. And so, and a lot of the opportunities going forward are going to be somewhat IoT-ish related. So these paradigms that we've been talking about for years in the IoT space, really sort of finding a home, whether the telco industry likes it or not. But you know what I'm saying? It's but that requires to have that more expansive view on what we're all dealing with here when it comes to quote unquote IoT, right? Going back to, hey, well, let's talk about this sensor and this particular protocol for, brokering data and blah, 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 that's minutia. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. 100%. I mean, yeah. I mean, the carriers, the telco. I mean, look, I love them. I mean, they serve a purpose and everything, but IoT wise, no, we've said it before, and I'll say it one last time for the people in the back. 9 times out of 10, I have yet to see a telco that is actually doing anything other than selling SIM cards.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's really what it comes down to. Okay, so they could be called real estate people if they own the tower, because then they can lease the space, but they're still just leasing the space to other telcos. I mean, so, it's a wild game. I do recall a time when all three were like, we're getting in the IoT space because we're the connectivity. Okay, well, yeah. I will say that for me, at least when I look at AT&T, they kind of backed off and said, no, we're going to stay in our lane over here, and we're going to do everything we can to create. And they got an interesting business model with their, the partners, the way the partners are lined up, right? So you can be an Apex partner and go out there and compete with them, but still selling their stuff. That's weird. Or you can be a sell with, partner. And I'm like, okay, I get all of that. Telcos have never understood IoT. And the weird part about it, Smart Grid 2.0 is heavy cellular.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And I think a lot of it, again, is, and here's the interesting thing though. Everyone thought the hyperscalers are going to get everything, and they've had a really tough time.
Yeah.
Just like they've had a tough time with the telco infrastructure, right? And the RAN, all this other stuff.
Well, they're getting crunched in the middle.
Yeah. So that just makes me harken back to the time when Rob Tiffany and I were at the IoT Solutions World Congress in Barcelona, and we were touring around the exhibition floor. We were going by the Microsoft booth and the no, it was a Google booth, and we were shaking our heads, going, "These guys aren't going to make it." But then, of course, at the time, the hype was these guys were going to take over everything, right? Yeah, he and I, we listened to some sessions, and we're kind of like rolling our eyes, like, this is not the way it's going to turn out. And sure enough, now what is it, like 8 years later? Yeah, we are where we are. But yeah, I mean, it's, dude, this is why you just can't, you have to just really think this stuff through. You just can't like follow the hype.
Well, yeah, I think you have to know
all the dead bodies, man. Do you know what I'm saying? I just,
you have to know where you are. You know, you just have to know where you are, who you are, and don't try to be everything to everyone.
Yeah, where have we heard that before?
Right here.
Yeah, I mean, biggest problem: identity. Who the hell are you?
Who are you? Know who
you are. And you don't even know why you should be doing a pilot or a POC or anything. You're gonna have a tough time to figure out how you fit in the solution, right? And so that was like the thing that I told the folks at IoT Stars 2 years ago. It's like one of the biggest problems that IoT guys have right now: identity crisis. The thing is, they have anxiety for being so narrow or so flat. Do you know what I'm saying? But the story they want to tell is way above them, or requires a whole constellation of logos that they can stitch together on a partner page to give the illusion that they're bigger than that. That's it. But having that identity, working that identity, having strategic partnerships that actually generate revenue, but more importantly, are channeled to deliver solutions to customers, that is way more important than how many freaking logos you have on your. In fact, that's where, we need to help buyers understand that better. It's like, it's not the number of logos. It's like, man, how many solutions have they delivered? What's their track record doing that? And then creating a sustainable
competitive advantage.
Yeah, solutions that have the potential of longevity, right? Yes. You can achieve longevity in all kinds of different. That's the other thing, dude. No one talks about longevity as much as they should.
Well, because tech changes so fast, But that the thing that this gets back to, if you're talking about longevity, this gets back to your relationship and your relationship building and why, how you're there and how you're trusted. I think the other end of it, then, and I'll this will be my closing statement, is there's a difference when you are building from the ground up, when you are building grassroots, when you have not received any VC funding and you have to grind to make that stuff go. You might have done, all right, so some people will do friends and family and they'll get some money that way and trigger it on some event, something like that. But I'm saying it's a different thing. I've seen startups get the money. And the weird part about it is I'm like, I wouldn't have spent that money that way. The way they spent that money, I wouldn't have done that. And someone said to me, they said, and this is someone that it got funded and lost their business. For two reasons, and we'll have to make a whole episode about that. The way the VC community has changed and what the VC community is expecting. And the simple fact that if you are truly an entrepreneur, you want control of your stuff. When you get money from a VC, you no longer have that control because they're not incented to let you control that. So they're either buying into your vision or not.
Yeah.
because you need to read that fine print. And they lost their ass and their company and all of these other things, and now their reputation. Because when they took that money, they told me, they said, dude, you have no idea. They expect you to go spend. And I'm like, yeah, but wait a minute. It's the company's money now. I will spend it the way that I see fit. Well, now they also expect that hockey stick that we're all so so used to seeing. So now you've just created a whole new set of pressures for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, that whole cultural orientation is toward valuation versus value. I don't see any reason why, if you have experience and you've done something and you've built things, you know how things are built, and that you can't build a business for yourself, right, off of you, and then do that ground level build out of whatever it is that you want to do, whether it eventually becomes a product or not. There's always these fundamental steps that you can take to build a grounded business, and nobody thinks about that anymore. They want the money. They want someone, it's like, hey, we raised our B round or A round or blah 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 round, and we got like X billions of dollars. And it's like, okay, but couldn't you have done a lot of that without couldn't you get to where you need to go without having a crap ton of VC funding? What if you had a product that actually worked and somebody wanted it?
Yeah.
You figured out a way to sell it, or are you getting VC funding for a product that nobody wants?
It's funny. No, wait a minute. It's funny that you say that, because everyone is talking to us and they're like, what's your roadmap look like? I'm like, what roadmap? For who? For what? And they're like, you don't have a roadmap? I'm like, I have an internal roadmap of things that we will get done when we get these contracts.
Yeah.
Well, you're not building it now. Why would I build it now?
Yeah.
Anyone out there just starting, build a demo and stop. Don't go building a full on, okay, now go out and sell it, because you're invariably going to get it wrong. When you get the deal, then build it.
Well, yeah, I would say just like start off as a builder. And there's so many tools to help you do that. Like you said, create the demo. But I think fundamentally, everything is rooted in your insight and ability to solve a particular problem. And then I think getting to the point where you can productize it and then scale it as a product, in terms of more of a general purpose, repeatable type of thing, whether you want to call it a platform or not, those are things you can get to. But I think it's taking sort of that initial quote unquote consultative approach where you're saying, I will solve a problem with this framework, okay, which I'm going to demo to you. And then we will build on that. I own the IP, but we're going to deliver on a project that leverages this. And then we're going to take it to the next level. And then you progressively elaborate that thing into a product. And then, not only that, and you're generating revenue along the way, working with customers, and you continue to market that and then create proof points. Next thing you know, you're on a path to actually building an organic business, And I think, how come people don't think about that more?
Well, because it's a flipping grind. I mean, like I said, Smart Connections did great, continues to do great. But it was because of all of that True North was born.
Yeah.
And I wasn't taking any money from anyone anyway. So I'm like, no. I've seen this movie before on 2 separate occasions where I walked out asking the proctologist how big his fist was. Okay.
Oh my God.
Sorry about that, but it's the truth.
Okay. Oh my gosh, this is going to be the longest episode ever. So we have to wrap this up. See, this is what happens when Bill and I get together and we don't have a timer ticking in the background. But man, it was good discussion, man. As usual, we weren't able to stick on topic.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right.
But I think we hit some nice adjacencies. But hey, man, it's great chatting with you. And let's wrap this up. So, hey, everyone, thanks for making it this far. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully you thought that this was a little bit different and more on the constructive side.
It was fun. It was fun and it was honest.
Yeah, but hopefully this helps the community. And also, you should bring your ass on the show so we can talk about your book. But yes, remember to like, share, and comment. Share your thoughts. Tell us whether or not you disagree with us or you agree with us, and then definitely share, because we try to provide this perspective as, quite frankly, a generosity. I mean, we do this for the kids at
Elevate Our Kids
at www.elevateourkids.org. Remember, please try to donate if you can. And if you are not into charity, but you're into fashion, we have a lot of merch. Just go to the website and all proceeds go to the charity. And yeah, we really appreciate your listenership as well as your viewership. And we will see you next week on another episode of IoT Coffee Talk. Take care.
Yes.